Okay. So this class is called Syncing Ancestry with FamilySearch. And let's talk about Ancestry and FamilySearch. So why do we want to have a tree somewhere else besides FamilySearch? Well, FamilySearch is a collaborative type of tree, and people can make changes to it. We're all sharing the same people on the tree. So if you've done a lot of work and research on a particular person, a particular line, and someone else is doing the same line, they can come in and change what you've done. They can make it better. They can make it worse. So it's nice to have your tree somewhere else where you have all your research, all your work, everything that you've put time into, somewhere else where no one else can change that information. Okay, so it doesn't have to be Ancestry.com. It can be other websites. It can be programs on your computer that keep records and trees. So we're going to work with Ancestry.com. Ancestry has an ability to sync with FamilySearch, so you can move information from Ancestry, from your tree on Ancestry, to your tree on FamilySearch, and vice versa. You can also transfer people back and forth. Sources. The only thing you can't do is pictures and media. You're not able to do that just yet. Okay, so I'm going to start by demonstrating. And if you have your handout, you can follow along on your tree. This is my great-grandfather. And I'm going to take the tree over to the end, and you can see it ends here with Thomas Penny. And this little arrow here is not bolded or lit up, so it just tells me that this is where his line ends. So now if I go to FamilySearch, I'm going to click on my FamilySearch Thomas Penny. If I scroll down, I can see, okay, he actually does have parents on FamilySearch. And if I even look at his tree, I click on View Tree, I can see how much further the line goes. So here's Thomas Penny, here's his parents, grandparents, and I can just keep clicking these lines further. And you can see it just goes a little bit further, maybe even further. Okay, it stops about there. So let's say I wanted to add all these people onto Ancestry. I always say, be cautious. You want to make sure that this information is correct. Do we have good sources to verify this information? But don't just automatically bring it into your Ancestry tree just because it's there. It might not be good information. So for class purpose, I'm going to assume that everything's good. And what I need to do first in order to get these people in is I need to connect the last person first. So that's Thomas Penny. I'm back on Ancestry. I'm going to click on Thomas Penny and I'm going to open up his profile. Okay, so in order to connect, there's a little icon on the upper right corner that is the little FamilySearch icon. I'm going to click on that. I don't see it. Are you done? If you don't have an LDS account, okay, so there's reasons why that tree won't show up. But right now, for class purpose, we're going to just go ahead and move forward with it, and hopefully consultants can help out. Or Christy, if they have already connected the person, it won't show up like you have. Oh, I see. Only if they need to be connected, they'll show up? And they're already on. Okay, so I get it. Oh, I see. Okay. They're already on. So it's already done. Is it a white tree? No, there's nothing. There's no tree. It still should show up, though. It should show up with a little check mark. We're going to have a consultant look at this now for her. But here, what we want is this little green tree. I'm going to click on it. And You can see I have a couple options to connect to for FamilySearch. How do I know which one is the right one? Okay, so I have Thomas Penny here, born 1773, and then I have another Thomas Penny here with no birth or death information. Which one is the one from FamilySearch that I want? So I really have to go back to FamilySearch to know. So I'm going back to my FamilySearch tree, and I can see here, this is Thomas Penny coming from my line, and we have KHNMP78. So now I'm going to go back to, if I can remember that in my head, I know it ended with a P78. Oh, and I'm sorry, I'm looking at the wrong one here. It's actually this one here, ZRB. That's what I'm looking for, and here it is, ZRB. So this is the Thomas Penny that I want to connect. I don't want to connect to another one. This is the one that follows my line on FamilySearch. I'm going to click on that, and this is where you have to be careful. You don't want to click Add to FamilySearch. If I click Add to FamilySearch, it's going to create a new Thomas Penny. It's going to take my Thomas Penny on my Ancestry tree, and it's going to make a new one on FamilySearch. And I don't want to do that because I already have one on FamilySearch. So what I want to do is I want to connect the one that's on FamilySearch with my Ancestry. So you want to connect person. There will be another example I will show you when we do add. So we want to click on connect. All right, so now that he's connected, you can see how this changes up here. There's a little FamilySearch icon, and there's a little check mark. So what does that check mark mean? I'm going to click on it, and it says ordinance details are complete. So this is about temple ordinance work. If they were not complete, there might be another little icon like an exclamation mark, an arrow, meaning temple work needs to be done. You can reserve it. There could be different little icons here. It's just going to the icons next to the tree are just going to tell you what the status is as far as temple work goes. Okay, and let's see what else we have here. We have compare person on FamilySearch. We're going to go into this. Let me just read the other ones. View person on FamilySearch. So if I just wanted to open him up on FamilySearch, I could just click this, and it would, I'll just go ahead and do it. It's going to take him right to the Thomas Penny that I connected him with on FamilySearch. Okay, add relatives from FamilySearch. I'm going to demonstrate that in a little while. And then just connect person from FamilySearch. So if I decide this, I don't want him connected anymore to this person on FamilySearch, maybe he was the wrong one, I could always disconnect it there. Okay? So the first thing I'm going to go over is compare person on FamilySearch. What this does is this is going to show me side by side. I'll go ahead and click on it. The information on my FamilySearch tree for Thomas Penny compared to the information with my Thomas Penny on Ancestry. If it works, let's try it. Okay, here we go. Okay, so this is what the screen should look like. Here's Thomas Penny on FamilySearch, Thomas Penny on Ancestry on the right. So all the information, most of the information has little boxes here. These are the boxes that you're going to click in order to transfer information one way or the other. So we can go either way. So if you look at the name, we have Thomas Penny and Thomas Penny. This Thomas Penny, back in the day when I started doing family history work, I made all of my surnames capitalized, and it was helpful at the time because I was able to distinguish between what's a middle name and what's a last name. In Sweden, you have or in Spain or South America, you'll have multiple last names, and because they take the mother's name too. And so it was just my way of differentiating it. But let's say I don't want that anymore. I want it to look like this. So I'm going to click on Thomas Penny, the one that I want to keep. And you can see it turns green over here on the right. Now it's going to look like the one on the left, Thomas Penny. And it says here updated. So we know that this is what's getting changed over here. Okay, what else do we have here? We have compare sources and reason. This is just saying on FamilySearch, these are the sources that verify Thomas Penny on FamilySearch. And over here on the right, these are the sources that verify Thomas Penny on Ancestry. So if you want to actually open up these sources, if you're trying to decide which one do I want to keep, you can look at these sources and maybe that will help you to decide.
So transfer the name but not the sources.
Right, so you can transfer sources right here. You can look at them, see how you can click on them, but you can't actually transfer them here. That's further down the page where you'll be able to transfer sources. Right, so like here we've got a couple more sources that identify his gender, verify his gender. Now we have here a birth 1773 on FamilySearch. On my Ancestry I have about 1777. So this is when I might want to look more closely at these sources on both sides and just see, okay, which one's the correct information, which one is right, which one do I want to keep. So let's just say I want to keep the one on FamilySearch and move it over to Ancestry. I'm going to check on the date and the place, and now that's going to update my Ancestry. I'm going to unclick it. I'm going to just show you if I wanted to keep the one on the right, if I wanted to move my Ancestry to FamilySearch, I would just click it, and you can see it's going to change it on FamilySearch. But I'm going to choose FamilySearch information, and I'm going to change my Ancestry accordingly.
I have a question.
Yeah.
The dates are written differently.
Mm-hmm. Right. So there's two different standards. So the question was, the dates are written differently on Ancestry and FamilySearch. So on FamilySearch, you want to write out the whole month. That's the standard format. On Ancestry, it's the first 3 letters of the month. So you really want to have it in the format for the website because that's going to allow the system to be able to find, match your information with the sources on that site.
So don't change it then.
So don't change that. Yeah, you want to just keep that.
Just another point. Mm-hmm. United Kingdom was not made the United Kingdom in 1777.
Right. Yeah. So let's say I don't want to do that. Let's keep it that way.
It's going to last, what, 10 years?
Right. Okay. And let's say I want the christening. Now, since I'm moving it from, this is new information, so since I'm moving FamilySearch information to Ancestry, I don't really have the option to edit the format. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm just going to have to go back into the profile and edit this once I get in there. And I would like to add the death too, so I'm going to move that over. Now, this part here, unconnected spouses and children. I'm going to click on details. So for FamilySearch on the left, these are all of the people on FamilySearch that are connected as spouse and children to Thomas Newman or Thomas Penny. And what they're saying is these people are not connected to my Ancestry tree. And then if I go on the Ancestry side, these are the people connected to Thomas Penny that are not connected to people in FamilySearch. Okay. So what this is telling me is we have a few extra children here that are not on my Ancestry tree. So I can't do anything about that on this screen here, but I can just kind of keep that in the back of my mind, and I can go back to my tree and I can add relatives that way, and I'll demonstrate that.
Back to your Ancestry.
Yes, from FamilySearch to Ancestry. So this is just showing me, it's kind of just telling me what's going on, who's not connected, and who's missing here. So now if we go down to sources, I'm sorry, I'm going to demonstrate that. So it's not from this screen, it's going to be from a different screen. Yes?
But on mine, the one I'm looking at here, it says additional children not linked.
Not linked.
FamilySearch tree.
Right, okay.
So is that similar to what you're talking about?
Right. So you could have the same children, the same people, like here's Sarah Newman and Sarah Newman. So they're on both trees, they're just not linked.
That's what I've done. So
yeah, okay.
You'll show us how.
I'm going to show you how to do that, yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay, now we go down to sources, and nothing's showing up on the right. So if this source was on the right from FamilySearch, it would show up over here. They kind of line it up as I scroll down. Okay, you can see now these ones match up. So these are the exact sources that are on both trees. But if you look closely here, we have an 1851 England census from FamilySearch. But then when you come down on Ancestry, we have we have the same census record, except the record is from Ancestry. So I don't need to add this one. I don't need to pull this one over here, this 1851 FamilySearch census over to Ancestry because we already have the Ancestry one. And you definitely don't want to only have like FamilySearch census records on Ancestry. You want to find on Ancestry the Ancestry census records because they're on both sites. It's for U.S., for England, Scotland. There's a lot of census records that are on both sites. And you just want to make sure, like I said before, you want to have the sources for the particular site on that particular tree. So FamilySearch sources on FamilySearch tree, Ancestry sources on Ancestry tree. Now, if there are some Ancestry or FamilySearch records that just don't exist on the other site, then I'm going to move those sources over. So here, for example, okay, so this Thomas Penny, England, Hampshire Parish Registers. I'm not sure if that's on Ancestry and it's not showing up on my sources. Not a census record, so I'm just going to go ahead and click on it and move this one over. But I'm not going to do the census, like I said, for that same reason. I already have it on Ancestry. And the marriage record, I already have that. Many times they're the exact same database. It's just one's hosted by Ancestry and one's hosted by FamilySearch. All right, so that's all I want to move over. So I'm going to go down and click on Save Changes.
I do have one question.
Yes.
On FamilySearch, this is on my grandfather, my father's side. In FamilySearch, I have his sister, and I don't have her in the
Ancestry. Okay, so that's the next thing I'm going to go over, adding relatives.
Okay, so I should go ahead and click Save Changes.
So go ahead and save changes. So what I've done is I've just gone through the compare person on FamilySearch because we have two people, one on the FamilySearch, the same person, one's on FamilySearch, one's on Ancestry, and I just synced their information. So you can see here now we have the birth that was originally 1777. I took this from FamilySearch, now it's showing up on my Ancestry. I took the christening from FamilySearch, I took the death from FamilySearch, and I added this source here from FamilySearch. Okay, so, and then if I had made any changes on or taken Ancestry information, put it onto FamilySearch, if I already had this page open, I would want to refresh it, and then I would see the changes that were made to my FamilySearch person. Okay. All right, I'm going to go back to Ancestry. Now, to the point of adding people, you can see how there are no parents. The line stops here. And as we went over earlier, Thomas actually has parents on FamilySearch and more ancestors. So I want to, let's say I just want to add the parents first. Those are the ones I'm sure about. Don't know if I want to do the 4 generations. Let's just do father and mother. So you would think here, okay, I'm going to click on Add Father. You actually want to go back to this little icon and do it from this screen, this pop-up. So I'm going to go down to Add Relatives from FamilySearch. I want to pull people in from FamilySearch. And these are all the people I can pull in. So you're talking parents, spouses, and children. Those are the only ones I can pull in unless I do, like down here it says add up to 4 generations. I can do that too, and then I'll get 4 at a time. But as far as doing a 1 at a time deal, we just want to, you can only do father, mother, spouses, and children. Now,
click add to immediate family member. Does that take everybody?
Let's see.
Tell me that something one other time.
Yeah, it's really just, it didn't have to be selected. I could have just gone right on here. It just means these are the immediate family members. So it's going to be one at a time. So let's start with father, Robert Penny. So once I click on him, and I also just wanted to make a point, just because these people are on here, it doesn't mean that they're not on my ancestry tree. It just means that they're not synced and they're not connected. So there will be some people on here that are not on my tree, but then others just need to be connected. So, okay, so I'm going to start with Robert Penny. I'm going to hit continue. And this tells me what I'm going to get. Robert Penny, his birth, his death. Not all information comes over. It's pretty much just that vital birth, death, maybe not even marriage. And I'm not sure if marriage comes over. And you might have to do that on the compare screen. The christening doesn't come over, burial doesn't come over. So you might have to go back and do that compare in order to get more information over. So let's just see what happens. I'm going to click Save. Okay, so there he is, Robert Penny. Robert Penny, who was connected, I'm going to go back to FamilySearch, who's connected to Thomas Penny as his father on FamilySearch. Because I synced Thomas Penny, it recognized Robert Penny as his father, and I was able to pull him in on my ancestry tree. So let's just compare and see what information we got. Okay, so looks like it's just birth and death. But let's look at Robert Penny on FamilySearch and see if there's any more information. Okay, birth, death. But look, we have 4 sources. I'm going to click on those. Okay, so we didn't have an option to move the sources over. And if I wanted them, I'm going to go back to Ancestry. And I'm going to click on my little tree icon, and I'm going to go to Compare. Now I can look at them side by side. That's all the same. And let's say I wanted to bring over this, well, let's just say all the sources. Okay, then I'm going to click Save Changes. And now he matches the Robert Penny on FamilySearch. Okay.
Why is there a green arrow instead of check mark?
So the green arrow, I can click on it, and it says available. So ordinances are available to do. If it's check, it means the ordinance work is done. If it's an exclamation mark, it means there's like a data problem or needs more information. So you can't reserve, and it's not done, pretty much. So, all right, I'm going to go back to Thomas Penny. I'm going to just demonstrate this again. Let's add his mother. I'm going to go back to my tree, and I'm going to click Add Relatives. And you can see his father was taken out, so now I can do his mother. You have to do them one at a time, unfortunately. You can't just grab the whole family at once. Click Continue.
You can't have 4 generations of parents, though, right?
Yeah. And the 4 generations, I believe, will pull in all the children as well and the siblings.
Really?
I didn't used to, but I'm pretty sure it does now. We'll try it. Because it seemed like it did the last time. That would be really nice, yes. So I'm going to go ahead and click Save. Great. So Elizabeth Hutchins is on there now. I'm going to just look at her. What did we get? We got birth and death. I'm going to open her up on FamilySearch. Elizabeth. Okay, birth, death, and oh, you're right. There's a marriage. On Ancestry, no marriage. So
what does locked mean? Why?
Locked means temple work is reserved. If someone's reserved it, it hasn't been completed, but it's reserved. And you can look at it on FamilySearch and see the same thing. You go to Ordinances, and you can see there's reservations there.
So does it ever tell you they're duplicates on FamilySearch, or you need to check that first?
On Ancestry, you mean? Or?
Well, if you're moving a duplicate over to Ancestry and there's another one that does have the temple work completed on Family Tree.
Yeah, you'll want to clear that up before you bring her over. Right. Is there another question?
Well, I was just going to say, it shows duplicates when you go to move them.
That's right.
This one or this one or this one. And you have to pick which one you want to move, and they all have the same name and the data, maybe not on one of them, but you can see that there are duplicates.
And that's when you're initially making a connection with the one person. But in this case where I'm actually adding a family member, I'm adding the wife, it's not going to show me more options. If she has possible duplicates, I would have to go.
It did to me. On one of the kids, it showed that there was another one.
Okay.
So,
well,
now I have to decide
which one, and you kind of have to figure that out maybe on FamilySearch first. And,
that's how I discovered that Ancestry was better at finding duplicates than FamilySearch.
Oh, right.
FamilySearch. And so I often will write down the two numbers because it's harder to find them once you're in FamilySearch, those duplicates.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
FamilySearch has recently strengthened their duplicates.
They've gotten better at it, but it's just
but they had to pull back at first because people were making such messes of it.
no, there's a good reason for it, but that's how I figured it out.
So yes, Ancestry can help to find those possible duplicates. Okay, so we did not get the marriage information. So when we click on here, or the sources, I'm going to go to compare person on FamilySearch. And here's the marriage. And I'm going to move it over to, from our left is FamilySearch, our right again is Ancestry. And move that over, and let's say I want these sources too. Move them and click Save Changes. Okay, so our marriage has popped up and our sources. And just a little note, if you have a marriage on Ancestry and you want to move it to FamilySearch, for some reason it won't work. It's because marriage is kind of on a different display than the rest of the vital information on FamilySearch, like right here. It's over here with the relationship. It's not up here with the vital information. So
on Ancestry, it's with the Bible?
Yeah, with Ancestry, it's kind of all lumped together on this timeline. So what you would have to do in that case is you'd have to go on FamilySearch and you would just have to manually enter the marriage information. Okay, so now why don't we try out that 4 generations option. Let's see this.
Can I add a child though?
Oh yeah, let's do that. Okay, so I'm going to go back to Ancestry, and Elizabeth's connected now. So, but let's go back to Thomas because he's our focus person. I'm going to go on the little tree. I'm going to click on Add Relatives, and now I want to add a child. So I'm going to choose Hannah Penny.
Too bad they don't have a Penny.
Now, the problem here I'm foreseeing is that we do have 2 spouses. So let's see what happens once I click on Hannah, which one it would actually fall under. When I click Continue, okay, so it's going to give me the option. Do I want her to go with Thomas and Elizabeth or Thomas and Sarah? Now, if I really don't know, I'm going to have to go back to my FamilySearch tree and see. So I'm going to need to go back on Thomas Penny. And, okay, I can see one child goes with Thomas Perry and Sarah Newman. He was illegitimate, so that's why he took on her last name instead of Thomas Penny.
You can indicate that.
Yeah, yeah. So now all the rest of them, Caroline, that we were on Hannah, so she goes with Elizabeth Marks. So I'm going to go back to Thomas and just keep it here on Thomas Penny and Elizabeth Marks. Okay, I'm going to click Save. Okay, so went ahead and let me just check this. So what it did was it matched it up with Caroline Penny, born about 1817. So that might not even be correct, right? Because, I mean, we're talking Caroline Oh, 1816. Oh, I'm sorry, we were on Hannah. Let me go back here. So let's see, Thomas Penny. All right, here she is. I just got confused, sorry. Hannah Penny, 1802. Now she is on the tree. Yeah, the dates, things might not be totally accurate here. We're just using this for demonstration. This is probably why I haven't pulled them in to begin with, right? So here's Hannah Penny, born 1802. This is the one I just pulled from FamilySearch. Ordnance work is all done. We got the check mark. I'm going to click on the tree. I'm going to compare the info. Hannah on FamilySearch, Hannah on Ancestry. We didn't get the christening, so I'm going to pull that over. And we didn't get the source, so I'm going to pull that over too. Save changes. Now my Hannah Penny matches up with the Hannah Penny on FamilySearch. Okay? So I can just keep doing that with each child. Click on Add Relatives. And then once I get to the ones that actually match up with the ones that are already on there, once again, it's not going to add a new child. It's just going to connect that child with one of the children that are already there.
So it will do that automatically?
Well, it'll line it up. Let me see if I can actually demonstrate this. So we have George Eliza, Jacob Henry. Yeah, in this case, we don't really have the same names. So they're all just new children. Or this just might be a red flag. So I think maybe I can demonstrate that with another person here. Let's see. I go down a generation to David Penny. Okay, so here's David is connected. And let's see if all of his relatives are connected. Okay. So his wife's not connected, but or his mother. His wife, Charlotte Billington here, 1802. You can see she's already there on my tree. So when I compare, oh, I'm sorry. When I click on Add Relatives, I click on Charlotte, it's going to continue. And so here's the side-by-side screen. Here's Charlotte on FamilySearch, and they're saying, is this the one you want to do it with? Is the one you want to sync? And it is. So Charlotte, so I would click on that, yes. And again, you don't want to click on this one. It's going to create a new Charlotte Billington if I do that. Instead, I'm going to say, no, this person is matched. We're going to connect them so they can be synced. Does that make sense? Do you want me to demonstrate that again?
Did you put her on, Charlotte Billington, did you put her on and then they're just finding it? It's not coming from somebody else's tree?
No, she was already on my tree, yes. Would you like me to demonstrate that again?
So what's the add up at the top there? The family?
This thing?
No, down right there.
Right.
What is that?
This is if I just want to add a family member on my Ancestry tree. This is, I'm not working with FamilySearch here. This is just my Ancestry tree. If I want to add a stuff.
They're not on either one, but you found them when you wanted to put them on Ancestry.
Yeah, you know, for me it depends on where I found them. If I found them on Ancestry, I'll add them on Ancestry, and then I'll move it to FamilySearch. If I found it on FamilySearch, I'll add them to FamilySearch, and then I'll move it to Ancestry. You can do it either way. And I'm going to demonstrate how to move someone from Ancestry to FamilySearch. That's the next thing I'm going to demonstrate. So are we okay with adding FamilySearch people to Ancestry? You know, does that make sense? We're either adding new people or we're connecting. Oh, I was going to show you the 4 generations. Let's try that. All right, so we have parents now, but when I go back to Thomas Penny and I look at his tree on FamilySearch, okay, we see we've got a couple more generations, 3 more generations I can add, and these ones too. So I'm going to click on Ancestry on the tree. I'm going to click on Add Relatives from FamilySearch, and now I'm going to click Add up to 4 generations for this person. So again, I would say do this with caution, and I don't know why it's not letting me do it. Let's try again. Add relatives. Yeah, I'm not sure why it's not. Oh, it's available for, oh, okay. So it's end-of-line ancestors. We can't do it through Thomas. We have to do it through Robert now because Robert is where the line ends. Okay, so that's why it's important you read those little things here. All right, so now I can add up to 4 generations because I'm on Robert, which is where the line ends. I'm going to click on Add.
But it has to be in Family Search for you to be able to do that.
Yeah, right. So the people
have
have to.
Ancestry, that's a dead end. You see more.
You see more on Family Search. If there's no more on Family Search, then yeah, it's just not going to work. It's not going to give you the option. All right, 4 generations. Let's go. I'm going to hit continue. I'm going to open up his tree so we can see what it looks like. Okay, so we've got Thomas, Edith, we've got parents, and let's see, yeah. I think we got everybody.
So that's the father and the mother's line.
Yes. Well, let's see. I mean, it did his parents, so John and Anne. So we wouldn't have gotten this. So we've got John and Anne, and okay, John Penny and Anne Blake here. So yeah, we wouldn't have gotten his wife's. Only his. Okay, so now let's look and see if we have more people. So besides the parents. So if I go to John Penny and Anne Blake, I click on children. We've got lots of children. Let's see if they moved over too. So if I click on Thomas and I click on his profile. Okay, so it did not. It only brought in John. So if I wanted to bring his siblings in, I would have to click on this.
When it says add family, is that you'd have to add it manually?
Well,
adding it manually to Ancestry.
This is manually, yeah. But if I want to pull all those people, all these children, these are John's children. So if I went to John and I wanted all his children, I would click on here. I'd click on Add Relatives. And here's all those kids that didn't get pulled over. I was mistaken. I thought I did that with someone and it actually worked, but apparently not. You know what it is? Initially, when you make a tree on Ancestry, you can import 4 generations from FamilySearch. When you do that, it will bring in all the siblings too. It's not just the direct line. That's the only place it'll do it, I guess. You can't do it here. You'll have to do it one at a time, get all those people over.
One at a time. Can you click a whole bunch of them at one time?
No.
You want to do one child at a time?
One child at a time, the spouse. Yes.
If you want to bring over a big part of your tree, you can use RootsMagic or one of those other programs to bring up ancestors and descendants to just get your tree started rather than taking the 4 that's automatically.
Oh, you can do that from RootsMagic to Ancestry?
Yeah, you can make a dead comma, but then you can import the dead comma.
Yeah, okay, that's true too. There's another way you can build an Ancestry tree from RootsMagic or other FamilySearch programs where you can create a JetCom that it'll read and it'll bring in everything, that whole tree, all the people.
Make sure it's correct first.
You want to make sure it's correct. Always want to make sure it's correct. Okay, so now I'm going to go back. So we just demonstrated importing 4 generations. Now I'm going to backtrack here to my Thomas Penny. And I want to demonstrate now moving people from Ancestry that are on your Ancestry but are not on FamilySearch. So this is the opposite way. So I'm going to go to Elizabeth Marks, which is Thomas Penny's wife. She has parents William Marks and Elizabeth. So I'm going to go to my FamilySearch, and I need to open up Thomas. And I'm going to go down to Elizabeth Marks. I'm just going to look at her tree. Okay, so it stops with Elizabeth. We have no parents on FamilySearch for Elizabeth Marks. So I want to move my Ancestry parents over to FamilySearch. So the way we do this is we're going to have to actually click on the people we want to move over. So we start with William. And I'm going to go over to the little Family Search tree icon on the upper right. And it's going to actually give me options here. It's saying like there are these William marks that exist on FamilySearch that could actually match up with your William marks. If I wanted to, I could look at these, open these, take the ID number, open it up on FamilySearch, look at them more closely. If they do match, then I would just add them that way. But let's say they don't, and I just want to create a new person on FamilySearch.
Can I ask you a question about those two? Those 2 William marks have to be coming from the tree that you created.
No, they're just on the system, in the system.
Okay, so it's anybody's tree.
Yeah, and really they're basing it off of hardly anything, just his name, right?
And when it's that case where there's no identifying information, I never make them up. That was no problem. I
right.
And figure out who they are on FamilySearch first.
Yeah, the only case would be like, let's say there's William Marks with Elizabeth and they have a daughter, Elizabeth Marks. In that case, maybe I want to look to see, do the Elizabeth Marks match up? And if they're the same person, then yes, it would be the same William. So that would be the only case. So I would say it's worth looking at. I'm going to go back and back on the screen. So let's say these are not a match. I'm going to go ahead and add to FamilySearch. I'm going to create William Marks on Family Tree. And what it's saying is none of these people are connected to FamilySearch. So first what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure Elizabeth is connected first. So then when I add William on, it will automatically connect him to her. That'll be the easier way to go. So Elizabeth, I'm going to click on the tree. And we get lots of options for Elizabeth again. So I want to make sure the ID number matches. And we have NSK are the last 3. And here's NSK. Make sure there's no other NSKs. Click on Elizabeth. And in this case, I'm connecting because she already exists on FamilySearch. I'm not going to make a new person. We're going to connect her. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and add her father. I'm going to open up William. I'm going to click on the tree. And I'm going to add to FamilySearch. Okay, and saying he's related to Elizabeth on FamilySearch, so it should connect. It doesn't always, but let's see. I'm going to click Add to FamilySearch. Okay, so the way we
How does it know it has him?
Because I connected his daughter. I synced her with the FamilySearch version of her. So then once I add him, it's going to, since they're synced on, since they're connected on Ancestry, they should connect on FamilySearch. But it doesn't always work. So let me show you what you do just in case. So let's just click on Elizabeth and hopefully this is refreshed. Here we go. So William Marks, it put him right in. So I have seen it where they don't connect him in. He's in the system. They created a William Marks, but they just didn't put him in the right place on the tree. If that happens, what you would do is you would open William Marks on your Ancestry. You would go on the tree, and you would click View this person on FamilySearch. And then it would take you right to him, and he wouldn't be connected to anyone. So then what you would do is you would take his ID number, and you'd go back to Elizabeth, and then you would add. Oh, yeah, she does, yeah. So then you would add him that way with his ID number. Does that make sense?
Now, wouldn't you take care of the possible duplicates before you start moving?
I would, yeah. I think that would be a good idea for sure. Okay, so William's moved over. You can see here we have William, but now we need to move over his wife. I'm going to go over back to Ancestry, and now we want to move Elizabeth over. I'm going to open up Elizabeth, and I'm going to click on the tree, and no matches. It's just Elizabeth with no other information. It's pretty broad, so I'm going to add her to FamilySearch.
Not the connect person.
Well, let's see. I don't know if we even have. We don't have the option because there aren't any matches. So nobody on FamilySearch matches her. So I'm creating a whole new person.
It probably should say nobody matches her enough.
Right, yes. I'm sure there's plenty of Elizabeths on FamilySearch. So we're going to click Add to FamilySearch. And it should put her as the spouse of William Marks and the mother of Elizabeth. And that because they're already connected on FamilySearch. And hit OK. And then I need to refresh the page because it's just sitting. I'm going to go up here and refresh. And there she is. Now, if they had any more information, birth, death, that information would have pulled over too. But because it was just the names, that's all we get. And that's how we move people from Ancestry to FamilySearch. And that's about it. That's about it for syncing. Again, you can disconnect if you decide that that wasn't the right person, and you can start the process over. But it's just a great feature. I personally use it a lot because, like I said, I just like having my backup on Ancestry. I do my work on FamilySearch sometimes, and then I say, okay, now I'm going to put it on my Ancestry so no one can change it. I have all the sources, I have everything, all my work, and then if someone messes it up tomorrow on FamilySearch, then I can look back and, or if it's been like months and months and you kind of forget, you know, and it's nice to go back and say, okay, this is all the information, I'm going to correct it now on FamilySearch. And vice versa, like I also use Ancestry as my working tree too, where I'm adding records and people, and then once it's all clean on Ancestry, then I'll move it to FamilySearch and submit temple work. So it works both ways, and once again, you don't have to use Ancestry. You can use other sites with trees, but Ancestry has that capability of syncing, which is really nice. You don't have to retype anything.
Well, and other people can see what you've done in Ancestry.
Yes,
without
right.
being able to mess it up.
That's right. So with Ancestry, you can have a public an option where people can see your tree, but then they can't touch it. They can't change. I love that, which is very nice. But the benefit of having the FamilySearch family tree is that it becomes a collaborative tree. We're all working on the same person. We don't have like 50 versions of one person. And it reduces duplications. And it gets people together working on and sharing information for the same people. So. Any other questions? Yes.
Comment, I saw the problem that it was having was locking me out.
Yes.
I was saying that I had my second family tree had expired and I needed to sign in again, but it wouldn't let me sign in.
Right.
Yeah.
The problem was, the issue was that I was connected, it had my Ancestry person connected to a person that had been deleted by merge on FamilySearch.
Okay.
So when I went up and disconnected that person using that little tree icon, down to disconnect, and then connected it to the correct person in FamilySearch. So it had already connected me to a deleted person on FamilySearch.
Okay.
Then it all disappeared. So it's given a kind of a bad error message.
Yeah.
Caused by being connected to somebody who doesn't exist anymore.
Okay, that's great. You figured that out. Yeah, so just for the people, for the recording purposes, if you are connected to, if your Ancestry person is connected to someone on FamilySearch who later gets merged or deleted so that ID number disappears, then what happens is you're going to get like a funny message when you're trying to connect or open up the tree for that person and see that connection. So what you want to do in that case is you want to disconnect the person and then try to reconnect the person to the new ID number that was created after the merge.
Yeah, so I wrote down the ID number that this person was merged to another person. I wrote down that ID number so I could find that person by ID number. Sometimes the spelling was different, so it wouldn't find anymore. But having the ID number, I was able to connect to the right person.
Somebody needs to tell Ancestry to fix that. that ought to be something that they should see on the individual person who is it with.
Right, instead of just a won't sign in kind of thing. Okay, very good. All right, any other questions? Okay, thank you. I hope you learned something new. Thank you.